Hi there, this is Stanley Karr, host of the podcast Wrestling with Heart with Stanley Karr. We're a podcast devoted to professional wrestlers who help out in their community with things like charity work, community service, volunteering, and we're always about the positive vibes, spreading positivity. That is what our podcast is all about. Go check us out. We're on all podcast platforms such as Apple, Spotify, YouTube, you name it, we're on there. Check us out, and are also on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Threads. Punch in Wrestling with Heart with Stanley Karr or Wrestling with Heart. Find us there. We got a lot of content coming out, so go check us out. Really, really awesome podcast. Today, I've got a very special mission, and that is to come up with a Mt Rushmore of wrestlers, my personal picks. I grew up in the Ruthless Aggression Era, which was, in my opinion, probably an underrated time in the professional wrestling industry. We had just come off of the Attitude Era, the Monday Night Wars, which is just such a successful period. We had guys like Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin. On the other side with WCW, you had Hulk Hogan, the NWO, Goldberg, Sting. It was such a hot period. And once WWE bought out WCW, the business had changed. There was only one game in town. You had some other promotions around, but a lot of people gravitated towards WWE. Just an influx of talent came aboard the company, and it was huge. It was still widely popular, and that period was just such an iconic period of time in its own right. And so, as someone that grew up in that era, I'm going to give you my personal picks of who deserved to be on that Mount Rushmore of wrestlers. Ruthless Aggression Edition. First, I'm going to start off with Kurt Angle, the one and only Olympic gold medalist, multiple-time world champion, King of the Ring, European champion, Intercontinental champion, WCW champion. He's done it all, really. I mean, you think about the total package of professional wrestlers, Kurt Angle's got to be on that list. He's one of the all-time greatest technical athletes, doing moonsaults and all these high-risk spots. But he also did a lot of mat-based wrestling, not to mention the comedy segments he did with Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock and John Cena. Shawn Michaels was not above anything, could make a fool out of himself. Just hilarious segments. Who could forget his feuds with Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio during this time? I mean, this guy could do anything. Really. Just an incredible athlete. And he was around for a good chunk of that period, although he started in the Attitude Era. So I got to put Kurt Angle up there. When I think of Ruthless Aggression during that time, Kurt's the man. As far as female athletes, female wrestlers are concerned, I'm going to have to put Trish Stratus up there. Trish Stratus, total package, beautiful, can wrestle, good on the microphone, multiple-time women's champion, had great feuds with Lita, with Victoria, with Jacqueline, with Jazz. Was not afraid to mix it up with anybody. Had segments with the males as well, like Chris Jericho, Christian, Kane. Just amazing. Amazing. I got to put Trish Stratus up there. As far as the tag team division is concerned, I would probably say the Dudleys, because the Dudleys were around during that time too. They were, again, there's like a little bit of overlap with the Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression Era. I would put the Dudleys up there because they were pretty active around this point in time. You had some tag teams kind of go in and out, but the Dudleys still thrived during this period of time, still were tag team champions, had some feuds on SmackDown with Paul London and Billy Kidman, wrestled La Resistance during this time. Spike Dudley was part of that group, so you got to see Bubba, Devon, and Spike Dudley. They had like some 3-on-3 matchups as well. Babyface, heels, they were over, man. They were still over, still going strong during this time. I got to put the Dudleys on there as far as tag teams. As far as the factions are concerned, there's only one I got to go with, man. Evolution. When you think about factions and you think about stables during the Ruthless Aggression era, none could be more iconic than Evolution. Just a Four Horsemen 2.0 group with two guys that represented the past and present at that period of time. Ric Flair was like in the manager role. Triple H was the present. He was at the forefront. He was the world heavyweight champion. And then you had two guys that they were pushing to be the future of the company, which were Randy Orton and Batista. And they were just great in their own right because they became future stars, world champions, legends. Not to mention Randy Orton became the legend killer during this period of time, wrestling guys like Mick Foley, Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker. Just who could forget, and who could forget Batista's rise to superstardom? That classic WrestleMania 21 and battles that he had with Triple H during that. The Reign of Terror, in my opinion, kind of gets a bad rap because Triple H was dominating that whole period, but you know what? They still centered around someone. That show was focused around one guy, and I feel like during that point, he had some great rivalries. With Goldberg, with Benoit, with Shawn Michaels. He just put on classics that people still remember. The Hell in a Cell with Kevin Nash at Bad Blood 2003. They were building these guys for the future. And Batista became a legend, and now he's a Hollywood superstar. And again, they were really trying to set a course for what was to come. Batista became the face of SmackDown, wrestling guys like Undertaker, JBL, Eddie Guerrero, Edge. The list goes on and on. Household names. This was the group that started it all. I mean, can't get any better than Evolution, really. As far as honorable mentions are concerned, Eddie Guerrero definitely is one of those guys that when you think about Ruthless Aggression era, that guy personified SmackDown at that particular time, WWE champion, one of the greatest of all time. His feuds with JBL, Rey Mysterio, Kurt Angle, just a legend. It's definitely someone we're going to miss. We've missed for years. I would say as far as women go, I'd say Tori Wilson. As tag teams, world's greatest tag team. Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas, Team Angle, eventually became tag team champions on their own. As far as like factions, other factions, I'd say La Resistance. I'd put them up there. Super underrated, got a lot of heat. Were the bad guys. Just great wrestlers, great talents. So I just think the Ruthless Aggression era was, in my opinion, still a pretty good time in the business.